Today, let's take a moment to look back at a heartbreaking incident that took place on the island of Aruba in 2005, the disappearance of Natalee Holloway. Natalee was an outstanding student, a talented athlete, and someone who was always seen as a source of inspiration to those around her. After graduating from high school, she joined a trip to Aruba with her classmates, a reward from her mother, Beth Holloway, to celebrate her academic achievements. Aruba, an island with crystal-clear blue waters and radiant sunshine, should have been a place where Natalee created unforgettable memories of her youth. But no one could have predicted that this so-called paradise would become the beginning of a nightmare that has lasted nearly 2 decades for the Holloway family. Beth's tears seemed even more sorrowful under the bright Caribbean sun. What really happened during that trip? Why did a young woman full of dreams and a bright future suddenly vanish without a trace? Natalee Holloway was born on October 21st, 1986, in Clinton, Mississippi, as the first child of David and Beth Holloway. When she was 7 years old, her parents divorced, and Natalee, along with her younger brother Matthew, lived with their mother. Later, her mother remarried George Twitty, a successful businessman in Alabama, and the family moved to Mountain Brook. There, Natalee attended Mountain Brook High School and quickly became a standout student. Her friends described her as cheerful, thoughtful, down-to-earth, and someone who always stood her ground. Natalee loved the movie The Wizard of Oz, rock music, and especially the band Lynyrd Skynyrd. Outside of school, she worked at her best friend's mother's organic food store, where she was well-liked by her co-workers. As a well-rounded honors student, Natalee earned a full scholarship to the University of Alabama, with dreams of becoming a doctor. After graduating from high school on May 24, 2005, Natalee was filled with excitement about her future at the University of Alabama. As part of an annual tradition at Mountain Brook High School, seniors would go on a graduation trip to the island of Aruba. That year, 124 students signed up for the trip, accompanied by only 7 designated chaperones. Natalee joined the trip as well, asking both of her parents to share the cost. Her father, Dave, initially opposed the idea due to concerns. Aruba allows individuals aged 18 and older to legally consume alcohol, and he felt that 7 chaperones were far too few for a group of 124 students, especially when many were legally allowed to drink. However, after being persuaded, he agreed to split the expenses with Natalee's mother, Beth, who considered the trip a well-deserved reward for her daughter. On May 26, 2005, Natalee and her close friend Claire began their journey to Aruba. They stayed at the Holiday Inn Hotel, where the chaperones held meetings to go over the itinerary and safety guidelines. However, the students partied around the clock, frequently switching rooms in violation of hotel policy, to the point that the hotel management declared it would no longer welcome Mountain Brook students in the future. Natalee took part in the partying as well, and was reportedly drinking heavily, so much so that on 2 mornings she didn't wake up in time for breakfast, something her friends said was very out of character for her. On the night of May 29, 2005, the final night of the trip, Natalee and her friends decided to have a farewell party at the popular bar Carlos and Charlie's, following their usual dinner at the hotel. Earlier that evening, at the hotel casino, Natalee had met a young man named Joran van der Sloot, who claimed to be a 19-year-old tourist also staying at the Holiday Inn. Natalee spoke with Joran, and later that night, she left the bar with him and 2 friends, brothers Deepak and Satish Kalpo, at around 1 a.m. on May 30th. That was the last time her friends saw her. The next morning, around 7 to 8 a.m., the group gathered in the hotel lobby for a roll call before heading to the airport. However, Natalee was not there. Her close friend Claire informed the chaperones that Natalee had not returned to her room the night before. They immediately checked her room and discovered that her luggage and phone were still there, but Natalee was gone. The chaperones quickly reported the incident to the hotel front desk and asked them to contact the police. However, hotel staff said that they had to wait 24 hours before it could be considered an official missing person case. With time running out, as the group was scheduled to leave the island that same day, one of the chaperones called Natalee's mother, Beth Holloway. Upon receiving the news, Beth and her husband immediately flew to Aruba on a private jet. Beth contacted the local police right away, but their initial response was dismissive, suggesting that Natalee would likely turn up soon. However, a mother's instinct told Beth that something was seriously wrong, and she was determined to launch her own investigation to find her daughter. Unwilling to wait for the slow response from the police, Beth began her own investigation. She returned to the Holiday Inn and provided the name Joran van der Sloot, the last person seen with Natalee, and asked the hotel management to review the security camera footage. Fortunately, the manager recognized Joran and was able to provide his full name and home address. Beth, along with her husband and 2 Aruban police officers, immediately went to Joran's house. There, they met his father, Paul van der Sloot, a judge, who informed them that Joran was at the Wyndham Hotel participating in a poker tournament. The group rushed to the Wyndham to look for him, but couldn't find him there. When they returned to the house, they were surprised to see Joran arriving with Deepak Kalpoe, one of the 2 men who had been with Natalee that night. When questioned, Joran initially denied knowing Natalee, but later changed his story multiple times, further deepening the suspicion surrounding the case. During the interrogation at his home, Joran changed his story multiple times. At first, he said he met Natalee at the casino, then went to the bar Carlos and Charlie's, and later left with her, Deepak and Satish. Joran claimed that they drove Natalee to the California lighthouse because she wanted to see sharks, and afterward they dropped her off at the Holiday Inn around 2 a.m. However, this account quickly came under suspicion when hotel security footage showed no sign of Natalee returning to the hotel that night, contradicting Joran's claim. Additionally, Joran lied about his age. He claimed to be 19, when in fact he was only 17. Suspicion deepened when it was discovered that his father, Paul van der Sloot, a judge, had close ties to the Aruba police chief, who was also Joran's godfather. The Holloway family and the public began to suspect that Joran was being protected from prosecution. Amid growing suspicion, on June 9, 2005, Aruban police arrested Joran van der Sloot along with the Kalpoe brothers on suspicion of kidnapping and murdering Natalee. The investigation soon expanded, leading to the arrest of Joran's father, Paul van der Sloot, on June 17th, after the Kalpoe brothers claimed he had advised Joran on how to dispose of a body and had allegedly said, "No body, no crime." However, Paul was released just 3 days later. As the interrogations continued, the 3 suspects gave conflicting statements, each offering a different version of what happened on the night Natalee disappeared. These contradictions only deepened the mystery and made it increasingly difficult to uncover the truth.